Hi, it's Jenny from A Stamping Journey with you. Today's card is showing you this butterfly watercolor wash card. I love this effect as you don't have to be too careful when you're watercoloring within your lines of your image. It creates a really cool effect. I'm using the Positive Thoughts stamp set. I love the images and these sentiments are just beautiful. So let's get on with it. I'm using the shimmery white card. I don't know if you can see that sparkle in it. It's a little bit thicker than your Whisper White card, so it will hold the water a lot better. I tend to use this card for watercolouring rather than the watercolour card, just because it's smoother texture. It depends on the effect that you're going for, but for this card we'll use the shimmery card. So firstly we'll stamp our butterflies. You'll need to use the StazOn. Black StazOn is what we have, because that will stay fast with your watercolouring. Just ink up your butterfly and we're going to stamp that a couple of times over your card. Give it a good press and just rotate the butterfly so it'll be in different position each time. There we go. So I'm using 3 ink pads, 3 different colours. I have the Soft Seafoam, the Blushing Bride and the Highland Heather. So we'll just use our Highland Heather first. You want to create a little bit of a pool of water. These ink pads are a lot harder to get that pool that we used to do in the bottom of your case. So just use a clear block. Press that into the ink pad so you'll get a little bit of ink on it. Using the water painters, I've just got the new ones. Have you tried these? Lovely streamline pens. Even got push on there, so you know where to squeeze it. You only need to give it a really gentle squeeze. So we'll just get some scrap paper here to dab it off as well. So give it a little bit of a wash over the ink. I take some of the water off first. All right, so I hope that you can see what I'm doing. Just push out the colour, add that with the brush over your image. Push it out to the edges and even over the edges. How freeing is it to not have to worry about stamping within the lines? So you can just keep building up that a little at a time to the colour that you want. It will fade and go lighter as it dries. So I'm also going to do this butterfly up the top. Just swish that colour around, add a little more to this butterfly. You can dab your block onto your ink pad again if you want to add a little more colour. Alright, we just add a little bit more. Go out of the lines. If you find you've gone into a part that you're not happy with, just give it a dab with the tissue. Alright, so we need to clean the brush off before you use your next colour. And this time I'm going to use the Soft Seafoam. Soft Seafoam. It's really hard to say that together, isn't it? Alright. With a different block, I'll clean that later. With another block you can pick up some ink with the Soft Seafoam. Clean your brush off. Just dab it on some scrap paper there. So this time we're going to add that little bit of green colour to this butterfly. Once again, washing it over, spreading it out beyond the lines. just until you're happy with it. You can stamp as many butterflies on your, I've just went for a few there. You can cover your whole card, and this is a smaller piece, so if you had a larger piece to cover your full card front, then add some more butterflies. Add a few flowers if you want. So we're just going to close this ink up and bring in our Blushing Bride. Right, this one is an old ink pad, so you'll be able to get your ink well in the bottom. So just give it a little squeeze, so I won't worry about pressing it on to an ink, a block. So just once again, pick up some colour. We're going to add that to our last butterfly. Pushing out the colour beyond the edges, swishing around. If you want it a little bit lighter or a little bit watery, just give it a gentle squeeze on your brush. I'll just do a little bit down in that corner just to match it up. Go beyond here. All right, we'll leave it at that, I think. So you'll need to let that dry. So while that is drying, we're going to finish the rest of the card. So I've just put that aside. I've got a piece of black card. We're going to stamp our sentiment. So we'll bring in that stamp. We'll need our Versamark. And we'll need our stamp, which has disappeared. Everything, oh, buried. All right, so now you're going to, got your black card. We've got our sentiment. Now, with embossing, heat embossing, it's a good idea to give it a little swipe with our buddy. This is not available in the catalogues anymore. You might be able to pick one up, but I think it reduces that static that is on your card that may leave those stray bits of powder around. So give it an ink in your Versamark pad. Stamp on that, and we're going to use our white embossing powder. I think white against the black is so striking. It's hard to see where you've stamped, but just a little bit shiny. I add a bit of scrap paper, tip over your powder, give it a good cover, tip that off. And if you want to get those extra dots that shouldn't be there, just use a fine brush and just swipe off those little bits of dust, bits of powder rather. Right, now just before we go ahead and give that a blast with our heat tool, let's get rid of this powder before I spill it everywhere. All right, and now we're going to give it a heat. Let's bring in our tool. I hate doing this on the camera because it seems so loud, but I apologize. I love heat embossing. I love the shine that you get with when that powder melts and the magic of seeing that. Is that one of your favorite techniques? All right, now we've got our die. This is from the Tasteful Labels. Tasteful Labels dies. We're going to just cut that with our die cut machine. So I'll just run and do that. Right, so we have that all done. We can now put our card together. If you want to have that drying a little more, just give it a bit of a blast with your heat tool. It really doesn't take that long. But let's assemble the rest of the card and we'll fix that up in a moment. On your base card, this is the Highland Heather, we're just going to stamp some of this lovely foliage on your base card. So bring in our Highland Heather ink pad again. Ink that up, give it a little ink around. Alright, so just a couple of times around your base card. It's just for a subtle background stamping. Right. Just down in this corner, we'll add some more. Isn't it lovely, this ferny image? All right. Okay. So now we can put our card together. We're going to get our black piece of card mat. That's just slightly larger than your piece of shimmery card. I use the multi-purpose adhesive for that because I find I like to be able to slide that into position, have that bit of wiggle room. Right, so and a little bit of adhesive on the back of your black to stick that onto your Highland Heather card base. Now you can raise that up with your dimensionals if you like to add a little more layering to it, but for now I'm just going to stick that straight onto my card. I'll just run around the edge of it. Okay, so with our sentiment again, I'm going to use a little bit of the linen thread, add a few loops. I really miss that silver thread that we had. I love to put it on the backs of sentiments just to add that extra element. But we'll go with the linen thread today. You can add some ribbon perhaps. How I do this is I've just add a little bit of snail to the back of the sentiment piece, wrap, do 3 loops around your fingers, and I just pull in a little bit of it just to change the sizing of it. All right, so you have it, and to separate those loops. You can always have a look at it, and I have put it on the wrong way. I thought twice about it, but you know, I think we'll go the opposite way this time. It doesn't really matter. All right, if you want to make any of those loops a bit smaller, just grab one of the ends and pull it in. And you can change that at any size you want. And then I'm going to just trim those ends up so they're not going to poke out. And you can always just add a bit of tape onto that to hold them in place, or you're using your dimensionals, just add a couple of those dimensionals on. That will hold them into place. All right, peel off those backing. And let's put that down the bottom. Hugs, prayers, love. What a lovely one. I know some people just send this out too. And to finish, don't we love a little bling? Just add a little bling up the top there. So there we have our butterfly watercolour wash card. Very simple, but how fun is it, the effect of washing the colour on it instead of keeping within those lines. So I hope you like the card. Any of these Stampin' Up products are available in my store. If you're in Australia, I'd love you to shop with me. So if you like this, drop it a like. If you're watching it on YouTube, give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel so that you can get regular postings when I update to that. So have a great day. Take time for you to make a card today. Bye.